Hello and welcome to another Peteman Reviews. Today we have Transformers Generation 1 Masterpiece Buzzsaw. Like most figures that we review, these cassettes often come in a box, a cassette box. This particular one is pink. I'm sure it doesn't mean anything, but it's actually quite a nice effect to it. I quite like that. So here we have the tape of Buzzsaw. Now, like a number of these Masterpiece figures that I've reviewed, mainly Masterpiece Ratbat and Masterpiece Ravage, Buzzsaw doesn't come with any kibble at all. What you see in this cassette is everything you need to make the robot. So in terms of a cassette, it looks pretty good. That's probably one of the more convincing cassettes in the way everything folds down. There's no feet to get in the way. And on this side, obviously you can see how the transformation works. But actually that isn't too bad as well. So on to the transformation for Buzzsaw. So you can see here, these are clearly wings which flip out like that. And then you've got another wing here, flips out like this. On the back here are his feet. So if these just flip down like this, that flips down as well, like that. And the feet rotate out. And there we have it. So these are Buzzsaw's rockets. Now, normally on Laserbeak, for example, and on the previous version of Buzzsaw, these would be extra kibble, whereas here they're actually part of it. So we'll just move these like this at the moment, and I'll explain why in a second. These are the wings, so we just move them down a little bit like this. Now, what you'll spot here is this little tab here. If you press it in, like so, it just makes his head rise ever so slightly, which hopefully makes it a bit easier to pick out, or not. Oh, there we are, or not in that case, but that came out in the end. Now, if you don't do that, it can take forever to try and pick his head out. It is a very tight fit. So these, now his head's out, this just flips back over his little rockets. They lock into position, and then you just flick those up to make his little winglets. And then the main wings lock back into position. You can hear them lock, which is quite a nice touch. Oh, that leg's come out. And there we have Masterpiece Buzzsaw. The wings are quite straight, but actually that's quite a nice looking robot. He's got some good detail there, you can see on his eyes, and some nice images. Now we compare Buzzsaw both to his master, Soundwave, and his mould brother, Laserbeak. Now, I've slotted Laserbeak up there. As you can see, that sits very nicely on Soundwave's arm. But let's just do a little comparison between the two. So, as we can see with Buzzsaw, he is quite a bit of a dull grey colour, whereas Laserbeak is nice and shiny. Personally, I do prefer the shiny thing, but the detail on Buzzsaw is extremely good. I particularly like all the little Decepticon markings that he has there, and the fact they're actually part of the wing. I mean, Laserbeak does have the traditional one on his head, but these do look really nice, these little markings here. And then if we actually look at his face, just try and get a close-up on that. There we go. That looks very good, quite detailed, quite intricate. Laserbeak, perhaps less so. It still looks good, don't get me wrong, but that's just slightly more intricate marking on there. We then obviously are able to quite nicely sit Laserbeak on there. I have previously tried balancing the two together, and they don't quite, not unless Soundwave moves his arm up. So if we just do a zoom in, there we are. And the two actually fit together really well. In fact, zoom in on that, that looks slightly better than the zoom in with Laserbeak and Soundwave, which is testament to how good the Masterpiece versions are. Because this is the Generation 1 Soundwave, not a Masterpiece Soundwave. Whereas we do that, and that looks really good as well. It really does, but I just think the scale perhaps is slightly better with Buzzsaw. One day, I haven't got Masterpiece Soundwave, but I think I might have to, because just to see what the difference is, because that looks very good image like that. Buzzsaw, of course, is perhaps the least known cassette. in terms of, while most people have had a Buzzsaw, if you bought a Soundwave to begin with, you got a Buzzsaw automatically. Buzzsaw doesn't appear in the TV series at all, because obviously he was a free toy. People couldn't go out and buy Buzzsaw, so why try and advertise him? Even in the comics, Buzzsaw's appearances are fleeting. He maybe appears a few times at most in the early Generation 1 series, and he appears hardly at all in the IDW series. As such, we know Buzzsaw likes masterpieces, particularly violent ones, but we know next to nothing more about him. Sure, he's got a bio, you can read all about it, but if someone told you, Buzzsaw, what's he like as a character, you would probably struggle to find an answer. So it's a toy that most people have seen, most people have owned, but compared to Buzzsaw and Laserbeak, I think most of us would go for Laserbeak because you had to buy him separately. Whereas Buzzsaw, well, everybody who had Soundwave had Buzzsaw, so he's perhaps not quite as well known. That said, Masterpiece 1's a very good toy, and I would recommend getting him. So there we are, thank you very much for watching. Please do leave any comments in the sections below and click on the other links, and I look forward to talking to you in the next video. Thank you, goodbye.